So are you going to keep that and teach somebody else that too today? Or tomorrow, sometime in the future? So whatever we learn, we have to share. So because if it's a good thing, you want to share it. If it's a bad thing, should you share it? No. So good things you want to share. Anything bad, you don't want to spread at all. You want to make sure you stop it. All right? So, I mean, I learned something today. I mean, the Nobel Prize that these women won, I mean, for the things they do. But when they thought of going out there and making sure that these children are hired as soldiers out there, did they think that, oh, people are going to know us, people are going to find out that, oh, we did this good cause? Did they do that for that reason? No. They did it because they felt that it has to be done. And that's why you got to always do good deeds. And good deeds, people who do good deeds, are the ones that are remembered forever and ever and ever. All right, so the things that Angie talked about, and what else was she talking about? You got to sow something in the ground, and what time, what season? When should you sow something? In the springtime? Why in the springtime?
Because in winter it snows.
Winter it snows and it won't grow, right? You can't really sow something, Hanji.
Because in summer it's going to look very beautiful.
Yeah, it's going to be, everything's going to be so beautiful. So every time, because Guru Brani, that's why Panji said that everything that you go out there and learn is from Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And it's said in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And you know what? One time we talked about death here, right? When we talked about death here, and some parents said that you shouldn't talk about death. Death is something to be talked about or not? Is something that scares you? It scares everybody, doesn't it? And you know what? Like every week we have some weddings here, but we also have some funerals here. And you know what happens? You know what happens at funerals? What happens? Anybody know what happens at funerals?
They do ardas and then they put it down.
They do ardas.
You have a funeral, like the person who is going up, but like you have some fire and then like you sort of burn the person, but you also do ardas so the soul can rest in peace.
Excellent. Excellent. And somebody said that we shouldn't talk about it. How old are you?
9.
9 years old. She talked about the cremation that happens, the body is cremated, and then we do ardas for the soul, so it rests in peace. And at 9 years old. And a lot of people don't understand what happens at funerals. A lot of people go to them, they don't understand what happens. They don't know what happens with the body and the soul, what happens. A lot of us don't know, but we get scared. Should we scare? If I tell you something today, would that make you feel better? I'll tell you something today. Nobody ever dies. Nobody dies. I'm not saying it. Who's saying it? Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Guru Granth Sahib says, Na kish aigbo, na kish jaibo, Ram ki duhai. Nothing dies. Everything we see is made of 5 elements. Everything we see is made of 5 elements. What are the 5 elements? Who knows the 5 elements? Everything we see is made of everything we see. In Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Guruji even challenges us and says that if you are so smart and you're so advanced now, you become moderates and all these kind of things, now you can go out there and tell me and invent a 6th element. 5 elements are there. What are the 5 elements? All right, so just like a drop of water is taken from the ocean, it goes to the mountains, it becomes clouds here, the clouds go, take it to the mountains, and it rains. And what happens to a drop of water? It starts flowing down again to lower places. And when it flows to lower places, it comes into the little streams, or even to the falls first, and then the little streams. And from the streams, it tries to reach a river, and the river goes to the ocean. And that's how we are. And that's what our real purpose is. Atma is seeking Paramatma, just like the drop of water is seeking the ocean. Same thing. And does the Atma die? Soul never dies. Why I'm saying this, guys, I remember I told you guys, life can change like that. Remember I told you guys last time, life can change so fast. We in our family had a wedding. last week. And in the family, the wedding, everybody's celebrating. And the wedding finished. And one person in the family, he was only 40 years old. And you guys probably saw it on Omni News. He was a truck driver, 40 years old. And suddenly, he passes away, doing the same job every day. And today he was doing nothing different, but the same truck that he drove every day killed him. That steel sort of thing, that hood that opens up in the back, it hit him in the head. And it killed him. He has small children, he's 40 years old. Now a whole family. See how life changes? So fast. We had a meeting here in the senior center the other day, Kabaddi meeting in the senior center, and a friend was sitting with us, he was discussing with us. He leaves from us, and on his way, he's in the taxi driving, and suddenly, he calls the ambulance and says, I'm not feeling well. And 3 ambulances got to the place where he was and saved him. If he didn't, he probably wouldn't have made it. See how life changes so fast? And he's even younger than 40. I think he's in mid-30s. Heart attack. See how life changes? So what I'm telling you all this is, like Panji said, we got to sow something when it's time. And this is what Guru Granth Sahib Ji says. Jini aisa har naam na chetyo se kahe jag aaye Ram Raje. Those that don't remember God, don't remember and don't even do 5 minutes of Simran, why are they even in this world? Jini aisa har naam na chetyo se kahe jag aaye Ram Raje. Eho manas janam dulamb hai, naam bina birtha sab jaye. Without Simran, without meditating, without naam, all this is for really nothing. All this we're doing is for nothing. And then remember, this is what he says. Hun vatte har naam na bijio. Agge Pukha kya khai. Now this is what you have to understand. This is what we have to understand. This is what I talked about with the family yesterday too. Okay, when you go on a trip, do you pack your lunch? Food and money and clothes and everything, right? Ready to go for that trip. But if you go on a trip, you have no money, you have no food, and you don't have no clothes to change, is that going to be a miserable trip? Yes, it's going to be a miserable trip. Hun vatte har naam na bijio, agge pukha kya khaye. If you don't sow the seed of naam, ab kallu ayo re, ek naam bovo bovo. Maharaj kende, if this is the time, this is the dark age, if you don't sow the seed, agge pukha kya khaye. And I'm going to give you examples. Sukhmani Sahib, how many people do Sukhmani Sahib the part? Mothers do Sukhmani Sahib part. Sukhmani Sahib part kinne yard de karde aapa Sukhmani Sahib part roz. Ja kite kite kar lenne. Te lekin second Ashtapadi jehdi Sukhmani Sahib di hai na, that shows you that where you have to travel. What's going to happen with you, what happens with the soul. And it tells you all the difficulties. But those people who have a lunch packed, who have food packed, have lots of money in their credit card and then a lot of money in their accounts, they're not worried about the trip. But if you don't have nothing on when you leave, it's not a good trip. Because children are going to ask for money, or they're going to ask for food. We're going to ask for food. And people are going to say, children are going to say, change our clothes. You have nothing. What are you going to do? When it gets hot, you got nothing to give you shade. Read the second Ashtapadi whenever you have time. I'm not going to go through it now because we have to do our 3 or 4 or 5 minutes of Simran together so we can do it in Sangat because that's the most powerful. So if you don't sow your seed today and you say you want to do it the last moment, you can't do it. I'll tell you, when somebody has a disease or bamari, I remember my back one time started hurting a little bit. I couldn't sit down, do chaunkari, and couldn't do a part. My mind wasn't in my part. My mind was in my back. It's hurting. It's painful. You got to do it when you're healthy. And you're the most healthy as you're growing up and young. As you start getting older, you get more stress and more worries and all these kind of things start coming. But you got to do it as you're strong. So you got to start doing it. ਹੁਣ ਬੱਤੇ ਹਰ ਨਾਮ ਨਾ ਬੀਜਿਓ ਅੱਗੇ ਭੁੱਖਾ ਕਿਆ ਖਾਈ what are you going to eat ਫਿਰ ਕੀ ਖਾਓਗੇ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਨਾਮ ਨਾ ਬੀਜੇ because that's what you're going to spend your naam is the only thing that's going to travel with you remember that's the only thing that's going to travel with you ਮਨ ਮੁਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਜਨਮ ਹੈ ਨਾਨਕ ਹਰ ਪਾਏ if we don't then you're going to come into this 8.4 million life form geda all the time over and over again suffer and suffer so we have to remember so when we do simran always try to remember that say thank you God that I'm healthy ਸੱਚਾ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਮੈਂ ਤੰਦਰੁਸਤੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਆ ਸ਼ੁਕਰ ਆ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਘਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸ਼ੁਕਰ ਆ ਬਿਸਤਰੇ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਸ਼ੁਕਰ ਆ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸ਼ੁਕਰ ਆ ਸ਼ੁਕਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਝ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਕਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਕਰ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਕਹਿਣਾਵਾਂਗੇ 5 minutes of simran how many days 5 minutes of simran every day how many minutes of simran 5 ਸੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਬੱਚੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਨਹੀਂ 5 ਮਿੰਟ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਸਾਰੇ ਘੱਟੋ ਘੱਟ 5 ਮਿੰਟ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਕਰਿਆ ਕਰੀਏ ਘਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਰਲ ਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਚੌਕੜੀ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ let's do it together and let's feel it because this is what's going to travel with us this is the tan that you want and nobody can take it away from you this nobody can take away from us all right so that we always got to remember everything people can take away from your jewelry your clothes everything in your house everybody can steal that but your simran your naam nobody can steal away so aur ral ke thode simran kariye